What if the Brown family was about to experience the ultimate twist? After years of public splits, financial fiascos, and courtroom shocks, viewers thought surprise days were behind them. But Season 20, Episode 1 brought something no one saw coming: rumors of Kody and Robyn talking about introducing a new wife. Yes, you heard that correctly. As Christine has moved on, Janelle has stepped away, and Meri has broken things off at long last. Kody and Robyn are in front of the camera entertaining the most scandalous notion of all: adding someone new to the family. And why now? And what does it say about the health of their marriage and the Sister Wives brand? Let's unpick it piece by piece, because the tension in this episode isn't solely about polygamy. It is about survival, image, and control. The episode begins with Kody and Robyn in their Flagstaff home. The scene is peaceful, a bit staged, but there is tension running underneath. Robyn seems uneasy as Kody navigates the topic toward what he refers to as the original vision. He reminds the audience of his contention that plural marriage was never simply a lifestyle option, but a call from God. And then, somewhat off-handedly, comes the statement that sent fans into a spin: "If God wanted me to take another wife, I would have to consider it." At face value, it is typical Kody: defensive, self-rationalizing, evasive. But stop here. The man who could not maintain 4 marriages, whose family collapsed on national television, is now hinting that he may open up again. Is it a genuine belief? Or is it a last-ditch try to retell the story after all those years of failure? Robyn's response speaks for itself. She doesn't readily acquiesce. Indeed, her body language, arms crossed, nervous looks, gives away intense unease. She whispers, "I don't know if I could do it again. It almost destroyed me the first time." That one line is the emotional pivot of this episode. Robyn previously designated the favorite wife as being vulnerable, and still, Kody continues, presenting the notion of a new wife as a means of creating balance in the family. But here is where it gets interesting. Insiders within the production have suggested that this discussion was not entirely unplanned. In accordance with one report, TLC producers pushed the subject for hype to create buzz on the next season. If so, that would mean Kody might be playing into the very storyline that fans accuse him of pursuing: headlines at the expense of mending relationships. And though fans on social media are split, some deeming it a joke, others guessing Kody is sincere, the question that matters more is, what would having another wife even do? With financial woes, lawsuits, and a fractured family name, can a new wedding be the repair Kody envisions, or the nail in the coffin for what remains? This episode doesn't even mention the possibility of another wife. It makes us wonder if Kody and Robyn are holding on to a bygone fantasy or attempting to make a comeback in the only manner they can. Shock and spectacle when Kody dropped the suggestion of another wife in Season 20. Episode 1, the camera didn't simply dwell on Robyn's response. It cut to a sequence of flashbacks. And these weren't arbitrary snippets. They were strategically selected reminders of how much suffering plural marriage has brought to this family. We catch glimpses of Christine in earlier seasons, struggling to hold back tears as she explains feeling like an outsider. We catch glimpses of Janelle, of factly explaining how difficult it was to divide her husband's attention. We even glimpse Meri, confessing in a stark confessional that she constantly questioned her worth. Every flashback whacks like a warning sign. It is as if the editors are saying to us, remember what went down the last time Kody insisted on God's plan. Robyn, sitting in the current-day interview chair, can't keep her emotions under wraps. She speaks, her voice shaking. People don't get how difficult it is. They imagine it is all about adding love. But for me, it felt like losing love every day. This is a fleeting moment of candor from Robyn, who has frequently been criticized by fans for being distant or overly refined. Here, she is exposed. And the contrast with Kody's stubborn insistence on the principle is stark. But the flashbacks don't just highlight the wife's pain, they also reinforce Kody's habitual behaviors. His unwillingness to bend, his need to control, and his skill at making every choice sound like fate. And then things get even more interesting behind. The scene's scoop indicates that Christine's exit interview with producers, the one done immediately following her breakup, was used as motivation for the storyline in this episode. In that video, Christine allegedly cautioned, "He'll never stop, he'll always think he needs more." He doesn't know how to love what he has. If that is the case, then Season 20, Episode 1 isn't only about a new wife. It is about proving. Christine corrects in real time. Fans online already are connecting the dots. Twitter threads and Reddit forums went ballistic within hours of the show is airing, with fans posting side-by-side comparisons of Kody's words through the seasons. A fan posted, Season 3, Kody says he can't deal with anymore. Season 10, Kody says polygamy is destroying them. Season 17, Kody says he wants to concentrate on Robyn. Season 20, Kody says perhaps it is time for a new wife. Make it make sense. That is at the center of the frustration. It is not so much about whether or not Kody is serious. It is about the vicious circle of logic that has governed his leadership of this family. This episode also seeds something subtly. Perhaps Robyn isn't fully committed anymore. Her reluctance feels real, and the camera lingers on her silence just long enough to make us wonder if she's finally ready to push back. If that happens, it won't just be a turning point for their marriage. It could be the start of the most dramatic season yet. If there was one voice that stood out in Season 20, Episode 1, it was Robyn's for years. The fans accused her of quietly condoning Kody's favoritism and biding her time in the background of big fights. But in this episode, her confessionals suggest something much more profound, something she might not even quite confess to Kody himself. The producers probe her directly. How do you feel about the idea of another wife? Her expression hardens, she hesitates, and then, nearly begrudgingly, she says, I don't know if I could do it again. It almost destroyed me the first time. This is a telling confession. While Kody couches plural marriage as the calling, Robyn couches it as trauma. She speaks of the jealousy, the nights spent alone, and the ever-present fear of not being enough. It is the first time in years that she parrots what Christine, Janelle, and Meri had been complaining about for years. But this is where it gets sticky. Robyn also concedes that there is pressure put on her from the faith community. Despite the Browns no longer being committed to their former church, she admits she still can hear the whispers, others wondering if Kody has lost the principle. She divulges, I don't want to be the reason he gives it up. I don't want the blame for that, this is the secret fear. Robyn might not desire another wife, but neither does she want to be labeled as the lady who ended polygamy for the family. Sources close to the show indicate that this battle was among the primary reasons that producers asked Kody to propose the possibility of a new wife on television. It forces Robyn to confront the tension between what she wants as a woman and what she feels responsible for as the so-called last wife standing. And fans are catching on. On Reddit, one viewer wrote, Robyn looks trapped. She doesn't want another wife, but she doesn't want to be the villain either. This is the first time I've actually felt sorry for her. Another added, this is the exact same cycle Meri went through, constantly sacrificing her happiness for the principle. Now it's Robyn's turn. What makes this episode so powerful is how it reframes the narrative. For years, the narrative was Robyn wins, the other wives lose. But now, finally, Robyn is cracking. She is not smiling anymore. She is not defending Kody. She is not faking that this life is ideal. She is confessing that she is afraid, and perhaps even broken. And yet, Kody appears oblivious to it. While she is expressing skepticism, he is speaking of destiny and obedience. It is a chilling dynamic. One is quietly disintegrating while the other is doubling down. That leads to this most important question. Is Robyn finally seeing what Christine, Janelle, and Meri saw years ago? That Kody's vision of plural marriage is not about love, but about control. While Robyn's indecision introduces vulnerability, Kody's half of the conversation is something else. In Season 20, Episode 1, he gives his reasoning for why taking on another wife might be necessary. But if you get past the words, what he is actually saying is quite a different story. He starts with a familiar refrain. It is not about me, it is about God's plan. It is de fait vu for longtime viewers. Each time Kody is accused, be it of financial mismanagement, favoring one wife over another, or relocating the family to Flagstaff, he resorts to the same alibi. This is not my decision, this is divine will. But he goes on further. He contends that plural marriage has always been at the core of their identity as a family. Without it, he says, they risk losing their sense of purpose. If we drop the principle, we drop who we are, Kody maintains. This declaration is eyebrow-raising because it reveals his ultimate fear: obsolescence. With Christine doing so well in public, Janelle winning sympathy from the public, and Meri getting on with her life, Kody and Robyn have been left holding the flag of sister wives. If even they acknowledge plural marriages done, what becomes of the show? What becomes of Kody's control? Some viewers think that this has nothing to do with God. It is about power and image. WonX, formerly Twitter commenter, captured it in a nutshell. Kody doesn't want another wife. He wants the option of another wife because it makes him feel powerful. The irony is not hard to miss. Kody has wasted the past few years complaining about how much polygamy has cost him. His relationships, his children's respect, and his public image. But rather than facing that reality, he redefines failure as evidence that he needs to continue being faithful to the ideology. This is typical Kody reasoning. If polygamy killed the family, then throwing polygamy under the bus would render the devastation worthless. By proposing a new wife, he comforts himself that the sacrifices were worthwhile. Robyn, though, isn't fooled. Her silence in these moments speaks louder than words. As Kody prattles on about duty and purpose, the camera spots her scowling, looking away, even crying. She understands what another wife would entail for her: more competition, more heartbreak, more isolation. And yet, she doesn't say no. She sits in silence, torn between her personal fears and the public persona she feels compelled to maintain. This sets up the season's main conflict. On one hand, Kody pursues relevance and authority. On the other, Robyn discovers that being the favorite wife shields her not from the hurt of polygamy. But the larger question remains: is Kody's mention of another wife even authentic? Or is it only for the cameras? A narrative to get the show on the air when much of the family has walked. By now, Sister Wives fans are smarter than that, and they understand that they can't always believe what they see. The Browns' narrative isn't merely about their family decisions. It is also about the network dictating those decisions for maximum drama. And Season 20, Episode 1 reads like a textbook example. The timing of Kody's remark about another wife is raising eyebrows. Was it an honest statement of conviction? Or was it TLC prompting the discussion to create controversy? Some fans on the internet think it is the latter. One best-selling Reddit thread contended, "This isn't Kody wanting another wife out of nowhere. This is TLC freaking out that the show doesn't have any wives left." It is an arguable point. With Christine, Janelle, and Meri out of the picture, the once extended family structure has dwindled down to Kody and Robyn. And although fans want to know about their union, it doesn't have the same fire. By holding out the promise of a new wife, TLC makes instant drama. Who would she be? How would Robyn handle it? Would the other wives chime in? Insiders have speculated that producers have been known to seed questions during confessionals. A source once stated that in previous seasons, wives were actually asked directly, "What if Kody remarried?" even when it wasn't applicable. It is a technique to create tension and sow seeds for a potential future plot. So when Kody out of the blue begins discussing God possibly sending him another wife, it is interesting to question, did he initiate that independently, or was it a meticulously scripted question? The other theory that is catching up is that TLC is perhaps even piloting casting. Consider this: if they roll out the idea now and fan support goes through the roof, they can always add a new face to the show at a later stage. It is reality television chess. Zone fan commented on Twitter, "Don't expect Season 21 to start with Kody meeting someone new. Controversy sells, TLC knows." Of course, there is also the chance that Kody himself is feeding into this. Undefined he knows the game. Here has been on television for more than a decade. Mooting the concept of another wife may not necessarily be his real agenda, but it assures headlines, internet arguments, and most importantly, relevance. This wouldn't be the first time. Undefinido, you recall when Kody defended moving to Flagstaff. Undefended was presented as a family choice at the time. Undefin later it was made evident it was largely Kody's decision, and TLC wrung the madness out for several seasons. So we're there again. Kody blurts out an unexpected line. Robyn responds emotionally, and fans spend weeks analyzing whether it is genuine or staged. Indefinitely either way, the network gains. But the twist is this: toying with another wife may not pay off the way TLC expects. Undefined rather than enthusiasm, many fans feel frustration, even burnout. They've watched the damage unfold for years, and seeing Kody suggest repeating the cycle comes across less like drama and more like delusion. If TLC hoped that Kody's remark regarding another wife would generate interest, what they actually did was create a backlash. The reaction online following Season 20, Episode 1 is instant and vehement, and completely negative. On X, formerly Twitter, the popular hashtag summed it up: number sister with meltdown, number Kody never learns, and number Robyn was trending within hours of the show's premiere. Fans were not amused, they were appalled. One of the viral posts said, "Kody can't make one wife happy, and now he wants the solution is to get another one. The man resides in a fantasy land." Another fan stated, "This is not faith. This is ego. He lost 3 great women and still believes the answer is to add another unreal." On Reddit, the criticism went even further. Regular viewers broke down each sentence, referencing quotes from previous seasons when Kody conceded he was stretched too thin or conceded polygamy wasn't working. The hypocrisy was glaring. A top comment summed it up. Season 10 Kody, "I'm struggling to meet my wife's needs." Season 17 Kody, "I don't want polygamy anymore." Season 20 Kody, "Maybe another wife will fix everything. This isn't growth, it is a delusion." But the harshest criticism wasn't aimed at TLC. It was aimed at Kody himself. Many fans accused him of using religion as a shield to justify selfish behavior. By presenting the thought as God's will, he does not have to take responsibility for destroying his family. Owing Twitter user bluntly said, "Kody doesn't need a new wife. He needs a therapist." Surprisingly enough, though the majority of the criticism was aimed at Kody, a few fans sympathized with Robyn. For years she was the villain, the winning wife. But now, watching her crack and confess she couldn't handle another wife, fans glimpsed another side. "For the first time, I think of Robyn when she says she is struggling," one supporter commented. "She seems trapped in the same system that destroyed the others. She just hasn't yet learned how to break free." This change in viewpoint could be gigantic in the way audiences perceive her this season. Rather than the chilly, calculating favorite, Robyn might just be viewed as a victim of the same cycle of control and manipulation that Christine, Janelle, and Meri had to experience. But if the purpose was to generate buzz, it succeeded. Fan outrage is a form of engagement, and engagement translates into bigger ratings. That is something TLC is well aware of. The question is, how long can they continue to play this card before fans tune out entirely? Because right now, the reaction isn't just Kody is selfish. It's "we're tired of this storyline," and that could be dangerous for the show's future. Even though Christine is no longer a part of the Brown family on screen, her presence looms large in Season 20, Episode 1. Every time Kody brings up the idea of another wife, viewers can't help but hear Christine's voice echoing in the background, because she warned about this exact scenario years ago. Flashback clips remind us of her struggles. We see Christine confess that plural marriage was not making her happy, that she felt invisible, and that she could not continue sacrificing her happiness in order to keep up with Kody's vision. Her walk away in Season 17 was not spontaneous. It was years of abandonment in the making. Now, in Episode 1 of the new season, Kody proves her right. "He'll never stop. He'll always think he needs more," Christine once said in a confession. That one line, circulating online again after last week's episode, feels prophetic. Viewers are replaying it back to back along with Kody's recent comments, referring to her as the truth teller of the family. Social media is abuzz with Christine's name, although she is not featured in this episode. On X, a fan posted, "Christine had this coming a mile away. She left because Kody would never be happy, and here we are." On Reddit, another commented, "Christine is living her best life with David. Meanwhile, Kody is still in the same den of deception that says it all." This contrast hurts, as Christine exudes joy in her new romance, whereas Kody becomes more bitter, defensive, and desperate-looking. It is a split screen of what occurs when someone exercises freedom versus what occurs when someone resists control. What makes Christine's shadow even stronger is the way her daughter's voices are beginning to echo her warnings as well. In interviews outside the show, her children have said they could see how miserable their mom was for years. They've also taken Kody to task for his favoritism, validating what Christine had been complaining about years before she left. So when Kody breezily mentions another wife, viewers aren't just responding in the moment, they're piling it on top of a decade of Christine's evidence. It is no surprise. It is a pattern. And here's the thing, many fans are convinced that Christine is why Sister Wives has a future. Leaving allowed the show renewed life, generating public interest as well as renewed debate over polygamy, gender roles, and religious control. Without Christine's gutsy move, viewers indicate Kody and Robyn wouldn't even have a plot left. That is, even in leaving, Christine is still the show's center. Kody can be the one speaking of another wife, but Christine is the one dictating how. Viewers understand it. If Christine's voice rings loudly throughout this episode, Janelle's power operates in more subtle, but no less significant manners. Though she is not present in the room with Robyn and Kody in Season 20, Episode 1, her self-sufficiency is a mirror to how ridiculous Kody's idea of another wife's actually is. Recall, Janelle was never the most sensitive of the wives. She entered plural marriage as a partnership, pragmatic, measured, and centered on raising children and establishing stability. Even she snapped, however, when Kody's dominance became choking and his favoritism of Robyn all too evident. Janelle finally spoke up. Either way, her decision to be independent wasn't made with the same over-top drama as Christine's rather. It was made with quiet determination, her desire for peace over perpetual war. And in Episode 1, that independence says a lot. In her interview, Janelle discusses where she is today versus how things were when the family was younger. She doesn't call out Kody by name, but her comments slice as sharp as a knife. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect something different to happen. That is insanity. This one seems to be perfectly timed, as Kody is on camera justifying the notion of bringing in yet another wife. It is like the editors coordinated her comments as a direct counter-argument. And fans caught it. One top Reddit comment after the episode read, "Janelle is basically saying what we're all thinking. Kody adding another wife would just mean another person to ignore, neglect, and eventually drive away." What makes Janelle's perspective so important here is that it shows a different path. While Kody clings to control, Janelle has chosen freedom. She's rebuilding her life, setting boundaries, and focusing on her own happiness. That contrast makes Kody's words sound not just delusional, but desperate. Another understated moment that fans caught on to is from Janelle's tone. She no longer sounds bitter. She sounds detached. That is different from previous seasons when she was still invested in repairing the family. Now she is emotionally moved on. And that distance is potent because it indicates that Kody no longer has control he once had. Some fans even argue that Janelle's placidity makes her more human than ever. While Christine embodies freedom through assertive action, Janelle embodies freedom through gentle strength. The two of them collectively demonstrate that it is not only possible to leave Kody, it is the healthiest option. And thus, when Kody suggests bringing in a new wife, Janelle's involvement in the show serves as evidence of why it won't work. He couldn't keep Christine, and he couldn't keep Janelle. Why would someone new commit to the same disappointment? If Christine symbolizes freedom in taking bold action, and Janelle symbolizes quiet strength, then Meri's story is something else entirely. A cautionary tale of what you get when you remain too long in a broken system. And in Season 20, Episode 1, her absence is felt in a way that the fans cannot escape. For all those years, Meri was stuck in a cycle of yearning and rejection. She held on to the possibility that she could revive her relationship with Kody, even after he publicly confessed that he had no love feelings for her. Fans sat through humiliation, loneliness, and betrayal. Her notorious catfishing debacle was a symptom, not a cause, evidence of just how desperate she was for love and human connection. When she finally broke away, it was empowering and heartbreaking. Empowering because she'd chosen herself over a man who'd thrown her away. Heartbreaking because it took more than 10 years of suffering to get there. In Episode 1, Kody does not name Meri specifically when he discusses the option of another wife. But the fans did hear the silence. One top comment online captured the irony perfectly. he couldn't love Meri, his first wife. He abandoned her emotionally, then officially, and now he wants another woman to step into that exact role. It's insanity. Meri's story stands as living proof that Kody can't maintain the relationships he already had. The idea of adding more is laughable in light of how badly he treated the wife who started it all. But here's the twist. Meri's absence also exposes the emptiness of Kody's claims about plural marriage. He talks about the principle and God's plan. But what kind of spiritual legacy is left when every wife but one has left him? Even Robyn, his so-called soulmate, seems hesitant. Meanwhile, Meri, Christine, and Janelle are all thriving outside of his shadow. Their independence is the real testimony. It shows that the women were never the problem. It was Kody's inability to love fairly, lead humbly, or grow emotionally. Fans have been quick to point this out. On Reddit, one viewer wrote, "Kody doesn't need a new wife. He must account for why 3 incredible women took their leave." Another contributed, "Meri wasted years waiting for Kody to change. I just hope Robyn doesn't do the same thing." These words mirror a changing tide in how fans watch the show. At one time, people watched for the newness of plural marriage. Now they're witnessing a man breaking down while the women he abused thrive without him. Meri's poignant departure might not take up the episode, but it sets everything we see into perspective. Each time Kody talks about God's will, viewers are reminded that he already turned down the first woman who followed him into this way of life. If Season 20 begins on shaky ground, it is not merely about romance, it is also about money and lawsuits. Kody and Robyn's discussion of bringing in another wife isn't occurring in isolation. Off camera, the Browns are dealing with lawsuits, financial conflicts, and the ever-present criticism of an ardent fanbase. Even brand new viewers know the figures are astronomical. Reports indicate Kody and Robyn's finances are bogged down in court orders, property transactions, and family settlements. Every episode now includes the unspoken question: how much of this is authentic faith and desire, and how much is calculated? The speculation of yet another wife has raised eyebrows online. One Reddit commenter condensed it: "Fate is always about control. Kody marries wives out of desperation to uphold an image or ensure cash keeps coming. It's never about love." This isn't just idle speculation. Over the years, Kody has faced multiple lawsuits involving family property, business deals, and TLC earnings. While fans focus on the drama in the living room, the financial and legal stakes behind the scenes are massive. Robyn's role here is interesting. As the de facto leader in managing household logistics, she knows the implications of Kody bringing in another wife, yet she seems to remain publicly supportive. Critics argue that Robyn's approval may be less about consent and more about keeping the family brand intact. After all, the Browns' public image is tied to TLC contracts, merchandise, and online content revenue. Adding another wife now could be seen as a desperation move to revive ratings, maintain family cohesion, or even secure additional TLC funding. The timing of this announcement in Season 20, right after Meri's departure and amidst legal scrutiny, feeds this theory. Fans are divided. Some think it's a genuine plural marriage discussion. Others see a calculated attempt to distract from Kody's financial missteps and past mismanagement. Online comments highlight the cynicism another wife. More like another episode to get away from how poorly he has managed his marriages and money. Kody can't even get one wife satisfied. And now he is speaking of taking on more. This is brand damage control. Finally, the audience isn't passive anymore. Fans follow each move, each word, each lawsuit, and judge it against Kody's past. The proposal of a new wife isn't merely shocking, it is well-timed and fans know it. This brings an air of excitement to Season 20. The question isn't just, will he get away with it? It is why now, and who does it truly serve? As Season 20 continues, perhaps the most anticipated element is Robyn's response to Kody's suggestion that he take on another wife. Unlike other family members, she doesn't respond emotionally. She crunches numbers. Robyn's stabilizer role in the home allows her considerable power, even if it is frequently covert. Robyn's facial expressions and undeviating comments throughout the episode offer insight. Although she looks serene, the audience can sense a strategic move. Her motive appears to be to multi-pronged, ensure harmony among the wives, and guard her family's public reputation. She is aware that any open disagreement may ignite media sensationalism, fan outrage, or even endanger TLC contracts. Happily, Robyn's words aren't merely supportive. She speaks in careful terms. She never outrightly supports the notion of another wife but won't unequivocally rule out the possibility either. In essence, she leaves the door open but retains control of the story. Fans picked up on it immediately. Internet forums came alive with such comments as, "Robyn is not saying no, but she is not saying yes, typical Robyn move. She knows how to defend herself while making Kody happy. This is years of practice." The strategic aspect extends beyond family politics. Robyn appears to have a sense of viewer psychology as well. By being neutral, she leaves the audience speculating. Is she really open to a new wife? Or is this an acting role? Either way, she retains her status as the most important decision maker in family interactions. Robyn also has pressure from previous controversies. Past seasons focused on conflicts, courtroom wars, and financial disputes between the Browns. Taking on another wife might revive unresolved issues with Christine, Janelle, or Meri. Robyn appears mindful that timing is critical. One mistake now might shatter the family in public and forfeit her credibility to fans and TLC producers. Also, Robyn's level-headedness stands in stark contrast to Kody's more hot-headed nature. Although he gravitates towards drama, she values pragmatism. In one of the scenes, when Kody makes a dramatic statement about wanting a new wife, Robyn replies with careful reserve, indicating to the audience that she is not easily influenced, even by her husband. This careful strategy might also be how she is defending her children. Season 20 is more and more centered on how the choices of the family affect the generation ahead of them. By not emoting, Robyn establishes a tone of stability, trying to protect the children from further family drama. Ultimately, Robyn's attitude is a lesson in covert control. She knows about public opinion, the monetary consequences, and the emotional cost of bringing in another wife. Season the 20th of December decisively establishes that Robyn's not a passive player. She is carefully maneuvering in a high-risk game. As the Season 20 recap continues, the focus comes to rest squarely on Kody Brown. In contrast to Robyn, Kody's style is considerably more emotionally driven, tending towards idealism more than pragmatism. His words regarding taking on another wife indicate both long-standing wishes and present-day irritations within the household. Kody shares a vision in this episode that is grandiose in scope and yet deeply personal. He discusses taking on another wife nearly as a solution to several dilemmas: managing family dynamics, covering emotional deficits, and carrying on the plural marriage way of life he has advocated for decades. But beneath this epithet, witnesses observe tension in his words. Kody knows that all the wives have their limits, and any reference to a new wife will naturally create conflict. Stunningly, Kody uses family-first language to frame his words. He speaks of concern for the current wives, while carefully hypothesizing the potential plus of adding someone new. This doublespeak indicates a trend observed over past seasons. Kody will frequently reconcile his own needs with an obligation to sustain public favor, both with the family and the audience. But Kody's thinking is not entirely calculated. There is a thread of urgency woven through his words. Season 20 makes it obvious that he views time as an essential element. With kids getting older and family dynamics changing, he appears driven by the conviction that now is the time to move if the family is ever going to grow further. This need can be at odds with the other wives, particularly those who are not prepared for such radical changes. There were also some observant fans of Kody's subtle manipulation tactics in this episode. By describing his vision in generic terms, he is able to get a reading without committing fully to a strategy. It is a strategy with precedent. He throws out the seed of potentiality, observes responses, and then refines his approach according to feedback. Social media boards lit up quickly with posts like, "Classic Kody. He speaks in hypotheticals so nobody can call him out." You can see him attempting to gauge the waters with Robyn and Christine. Season 20 also brings out Kody's dynamic with public opinion. He often mentions how choices will be perceived by viewers and TLC, indicating a keen sense of his position as a television star. His suggestion to bring in yet another wife is delivered with careful wording to sound thoughtful and even-minded. but it has an undertone of self-interest. Lastly, the show contrasts Kody's words with his previous actions and finds a consistent thread. He puts his own dream for the family first, while trying to keep everyone else in peace. Whether or not this plan works or blows up in Season 20 is the main question, keeping the audience watching and guessing after each episode. As Kody and Robyn share their opinions on potentially bringing another wife aboard, the cameras immediately turn attention towards Christine, Janelle, and Meri. Their responses are instant, unmediated, and revealing, and they allow us a glimpse into the emotional currents running through the Brown household. Christine speaks first, her reply a blend of skepticism and controlled frustration. She indicates the effort it takes to keep things together and repeats the impossibility of keeping house as things are. Christine's arguments revolve around the emotional and practical effects of a new wife, emphasizing how bringing another into the picture could upset routine, relationships, and family dynamics. Her tone conveys experience and frustration, as she clearly doesn't want to do things over again. Janelle, by contrast, answers in a more contemplative manner. She appears to balance the options cautiously, raising questions that reflect her priorities. How would a new wife fit into the established family dynamics? How would Kody's attention and resources be allocated? Janelle's calculating response stands in opposition to Kody's idealism, highlighting a tension that recurs throughout, one of vision and emotion versus one of pragmatism and experience. Next is Meri, whose response is more subdued but no less important. In the past, Meri has had difficulty with being neglected and left out, and her restrained reaction indicates a combination of resignation and worry. She sits in silence, providing the audience a glimpse into how Kody's plan could inadvertently exacerbate her sense of isolation. Her body language, eye-rolling moments, and little sighs say it all, demonstrating that sometimes nonverbal responses are more powerful than words in this family dynamic. The episode does a brilliant job of pitting these responses against Kody and Robyn's positivity. In doing so, it reveals a traditional Brown family dynamic, some enthusiasm from one quarter, some skepticism from another, and a background tension that feeds conflict and viewer interest. Social media responses during and after the episode reflect this dynamic, with fans commenting things like, "Christine's skepticism is the only thing keeping this from turning into chaos immediately." Janelle always asks the hard questions while Kody just dreams. Meri's silent reactions say more than anyone else's words. This interplay of perspective sets up one of the major emotional storylines of Season 20. Viewers can clearly see that Kody and Robyn's discussion isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a complex web of relationships, past disappointments, and varying degrees of trust and patience among the wives. By the end of this segment, the episode leaves fans speculating about the future. Will Kody and Robyn forge ahead in the face of pushback? Will the wives' collective hesitance hinder the process? The answers aren't given right away, building suspense that keeps audiences hooked week after week. At the end of Episode 1 of Sister Wives Season 20, the most memorable moments aren't what Kody and Robyn did. They're the reactions, surprises, and questions left hanging for viewers. The season premiere does an excellent job of inciting dialogue and discussion, not just on Twitter but also among diehard fans. Arguably, the most shocking moment is the debate about adding a fourth wife. While Kody presents it as a natural extension of their family tradition, Robyn's guarded optimism brings some depth. She is in favor but realizes some potential issues, specifically the emotional effect on current wives and the kids. This hopefulness tinged with reality is tension that establishes the tone for the season. Social media explodes practically as soon as the episode is broadcast. Christine's cynical looks, Janelle's sharp questions, and Meri's contemplative, knowing sighs are reposted far and wide. Fans quickly weigh in, Christine calling it out like a pro. She is not holding back this season, Janelle asking the tough questions as always. I love her thinking. Meri's silence speaks volumes. Poor girl has been through so much. These reactions highlight a key strategy in reality television. Emotional authenticity drives virality. Viewers connect more with raw, unfiltered responses than scripted commentary. Another memorable moment comes from the children, whose reactions, though brief, hint at their awareness and mixed feelings. the episode quietly reveals how the next generation is already adapting to the changing dynamics of the family, giving us a glimpse of what the household may be like if another wife is included. These moments are both foreshadowing and suspense, building stylistically. As storytelling, the episode has multiple layers in balance. Kody and Robyn's eagerness, the wives' skepticism, and the children's guarded curiosity. By combining these threads, the show has an engaging narrative flow, providing plenty to talk about between episodes. The strategic application of close-ups, confessionals, and dramatic pauses heightens suspense, leading viewers to feel as though they're experiencing every emotional moment for themselves. Key takeaways from this premiere episode are Kody and Robyn are considering bringing in another wife, but at the cost of contemplating consequences. Christine, Janelle, and Meri respond in different ways, indicating past experience, concern, and personal personality. The kids know the family is changing with allusion to possible season storylines. Social media interaction indicates fans are already arguing, foreshadowing fiery debate in the coming weeks. By the end, Episode 1 effectively positions Season 20 as one of the most emotionally intense and unpredictable seasons to date. Each look, every word, and each silence is intended to create speculation and conversation, keeping the show topical, shareable, and viral. Fans know Season 20 delivers drama, surprises, and family drama, all rooted in Kody and Robyn's contentious choices and the wives' real reactions.